Yes.
So you can see my screen. It is like
Yes.
to everyone.
Yes. Yes. It's
Okay.
visible.
Okay. So good evening, students. We welcome you to the 11th session of our ongoing course. So today, what we would be discussing is on re-engineering of internal combustion engine IC bike to electrical bike. Okay. So before we start session 11, yesterday and today, we are having like back-to-back sessions. So like to brush up, like what we did yesterday was we discussed on the chargers and the charging infrastructure. There were a lot of queries also, and we had an extended session yesterday, a good session we had. So like before we start this session, I would request that other students also, like everyone is paying attention, they are attending the session. So everyone, whatever query you have, you whether you small or a big query or anything, any sort of query you have, you should put your query. If you are not comfortable in unmuting and asking, you can put in the chat box also. We'll try to resolve it. Okay, so that's a small request before we start the session. So today what we will do is during the query session, if you have like any query from last session also, that we will also take. So from controllers, if you have any query, or you have from the chargers and the charging infrastructure, including today's session. So all three sessions, any query anyone have, they can put it during the query session. So we start today with the session number 11, re-engineering of internal combustion engine bike to electrical bike. So why we have included this part in the course? So many of you might be like wondering why we have included this portion into the course. So what is happening is, as we have been discussing, like from the very first session, we have been discussing that we are trying to create an infrastructure, as well as we are trying to create the numbers of the EVs or adoption of the EVs we are trying to create. So like when there is a new technology coming, okay. So when there is a introduction of any new technology, what happens is the supply chain, creation of the supply chain and the infrastructure take a little bit of time. So say if with the new technology, the issue comes as there could be an abrupt demand also, like abrupt demand in there could be spike in the demands, or there might not be demand at all also, and there might be spike in demand also if we are going in the right direction, and if we are putting the correct steps if we are taking. So same thing happened with the EV also. Like we have been witnessing that last 1 year there has been a spike in the demand of the EVs. So like there are several OEMs, including larger one like Hero or Ether, TVS. They are not able to supply bikes to their distributors. So if you go to tier 2 or tier 3 cities, you would see that there are several distributors who would be complaining that we are not getting the material. So if you want to go to buy at those places, you would have a waiting period of 6 months, 7 months, or 3 months, 4 months, depending upon the model that you are going for. So why that is so? Because at the manufacturing end, either there is a lot of pressure, so that they are not able to fulfill the demand, or they have miscalculated the demand. They might have they might have procured or sourced raw material or the parts according to some demand, and the demand has there has been a spike in the demand. Okay, so they were not that was not pre-planned, and that has that has miscalculated all their planning, and so this problem is occurring at the end customer, at the end of the supply chain. The problem is coming. So in order to resolve this, re-engineering is always a good solution. So instead of like going for a full new vehicle, what we can do is whatever we have existing, we can make alteration into that, because that vehicle is flying for a very longer duration. That vehicle is flying on the roads. So if we talk about a typical IC electrical bike, they have a fitness up to 15 years. So they can fly on the roads up to 15 years. After 15 years, they have to be scrapped. So there was very recently, if you see, like 1.5 years back, there was a scrappage policy that was introduced. So under scrappage policy, what has been done is like under scrappage policy, every vehicle has been defined a time period depending upon the places that where they are operating. Okay. So after a certain period of time, the vehicle has to be scrapped. Okay, so now in re-engineering, what we do is if we look into the vehicle, the scrappage, if you see, the scrappage happens of the engine. Normally, you have to provide a proof of scrapping your engine, and also at the same time, you have to prove that the chassis number. We everyone know that a vehicle has a unique number. Every vehicle has a unique identification number, VIN number that we call. So vehicle identification number, or in normal layman term, we call them chassis number. Okay, so that every vehicle has. So when we go for the scrappage of the vehicles, what we have to do is we have to give a proof that the engine has been scrapped, and at the same time the chassis has been scrapped, so that we have to furnish the cutout of where the chassis number is inscribed. We have to take that portion along with the part of the engine where the engine number is there, and along with our along with our registration certificate, we have to deposit in the RTO. So then they will term that this vehicle has been properly scrapped, and now the vehicle has no identity. Okay, the identity you have finished. So under scrappage policy, what they have done is that they just to give the new life to the vehicle, what they have done is they have like even after 15 years, the central government and the state government have come up with some norms that even after 15 years of vehicle plying, the structure of the vehicle is not disturbed. The structure of the vehicle is as it is. What is the issue of scrapping the vehicle after 15 years? Why this norm is there? Because the engine, either it is it is using the mileage, using more petrol or the gasoline. It is using more to reach to a destination, and at the same time the efficiency of the engine has come down, due to which it is creating more pollution. So that is under that norms the scrappage is happening. Okay, so it's not so that the structure of the vehicle has been damaged, or like the chassis has been damaged, or the tires have been damaged. In 15 years, the motive of scrapping the vehicle is that the engine gets scrapped so that it can't move on the roads to create more pollution in the environment. So that is the basic motive behind scrapping. So some state governments have come up with a norm that after scrapping, you have scrapped your engine, and you have so after scrapping the engine, the same vehicle can be converted into electrical format that could be included. That could be converted. Sorry. So like Delhi government, if you talk about, they have come up with this policy that the diesel vehicles that were plying or the other conventional vehicles that were plying, and which have reached to the 15 years of their operations, 15 years of their life, then they the engine could be scrapped, and the other parts of the vehicle can the structure of the vehicle can be used to convert into electrical form. That could be like 4-wheeler, 3-wheeler. So how that would be done? So for converting into electrical, we know what is the differentiation between a normal vehicle and an electrical vehicle is the motor, controller, and the battery. These are the three primary components that we will have to convert them. So today's session, we will be more focusing on re-engineering. So re-engineering, how it will help us? It will help us in instead of developing the entire vehicle, what we can do is we can with the help of the kits and only few components, we can turn into electrical form. We can turn it into, so that there is no much more pressure on the OEM side. So since this difference between the demand and supply can be met. So contents that we will be discussing today are like re-engineering, or even in different places we also call it retrofitting, also we call it, or refurbishment also we can call it. So we would be using the term re-engineering over here. and why the urgency, why we need to have like re-engineering. So I have given you a brief of it. So we will be discussing in details when we go further with the presentation. So type of re-engineering, how can we like re-engineer and re-engineering components? What are the chief components that would be required? And re-engineering kit provided by eOxigen. So we as an organization, eOxigen, we have for particular vehicles, vehicle wise we have kits, so you don't have to do anything. You take the kit along and say within 2 or 3 hours you can convert your IC vehicle into a electrical format. So what is re-engineering? So re-engineering is the replacement of the combustion powertrain in a vehicle with an electrical driveline. This method is being extensively used in Europe to convert diesel trucks and buses into zero emission CVs, and has helped reduce carbon emissions within big cities while reducing congestion also. So re-engineering, as we already said, that what differentiates a normal vehicle and an electrical vehicle is the motor, controller, and a battery. So these components is what differentiates a normal EV from a normal IC vehicle. So first and foremost is, if you want to convert it into electrical, a normal vehicle, you would need these three components. Then you have to have the syncing and the placement of these three components would be there. So on your right hand side, you can see a vehicle. This is an eOxigen produced vehicle. So it is a re-engineered vehicle. A model IC model has been reconverted into an electrical form. So they have used a hub motor, and the engine has been removed, and the battery has been placed over here, and the controller has been placed under the fuel tank. So the fuel tank has been remodified, and the controller has been placed below the fuel tank. So this method is extensively used in Europe to convert diesel trucks and buses into zero emission CVs, and has helped reduce carbon emissions within big cities while reducing congestion. So primarily speaking, say if there are 100 vehicles plying on the roads, all IC vehicles are plying on the road. And now what happens is, now we say that yes, the electrical vehicles are also available in the market. So maybe the people will be additionally buying these electrical vehicles. So what this would do, this would again create congestion on the or pressure on the infrastructure. Okay. Or what would be then that your vehicle has passed its life, say 15 years, and now you have to scrap it. So what people would be doing, they would be purchasing another IC vehicle in place of this. So there would be there would be an incremental vehicles that would be plying on the roads. Okay, if we aggressively introduce EVs also. So in order to reduce the congestion, what the re-engineering can help is already the vehicles that are plying, and that which are whose life would be completing in, say, a certain time period. Say after 50, they have already seen their life of 15 years, so they could be converted into electrical form. Okay. So after they are converted into electrical form, we don't have like additional vehicles coming into the system. So the pressure on the infrastructure can be managed to an extent by re-engineering. And as I said that when there is a spike in the demand, when market requires more number of vehicles, and when the OEMs are not able to produce that, that kind of demand can also be managed with the help of the re-engineering. Because when we speak about re-engineering, they might not need very sophisticated or huge factories. They won't need they don't need very sophisticated production lines. They would not, assembly lines they wouldn't need. So it could be done at a very a very basic a very basic workshop. It could be done with if the person is efficient and he has the knowledge of the re-engineer, proper knowledge of the re-engineering, he can do it at his end, and at the same time he can produce this vehicle to the government authorities. They can test it, and accordingly they can give you a certificate that yes, it is fit to run on the road. And if you can take this vehicle to the RTO, if it is high speed vehicle, your speed if it exceeds 25 kilometer per hour, and or your motor size is more than 300 watt, then you have to have you have to get it registered by RTO. So you can take it to the RTO and they would give you they would issue a new registration number under a green number plate, and they will give you a new a registration certificate also they will give you. So this would be treated kindly as a new electrical vehicle. So re-engineering. During the early 1990s, CNG cars gained popularity in India with a significant increase in fuel prices. Several car manufacturers also offer factory-fitted CNG kits with the vehicle. It is not only about cost. CNG is an environment-friendly fuel as it produces fewer greenhouse gases compared to conventional fuel. Therefore, CNG cars or converting petrol cars to CNG are the only feasible options in the current scenario where electric cars carry a premium price tag. So most of you must have seen the CNG cars, they must have seen. So how this was very much kind of a revolution that we are seeing for the EV. But in the CNG, what has happened is either the cars are mostly they are manufactured with a dual mode. So you can shift it to normal fuel or you can shift it to the CNG. So you can call them hybrid. To an extent, you can call them hybrid. So they have both modes. When your CNG, because CNG infrastructure is also like limited, it is not very well available even along the highway. If you move, you won't find many CNG pumps. Even in the cities, you have a limited CNG pump. So if the CNG, if CNG gets over, then you can shift the fuel type to petrol. So when this discussion about the pollution arose around the world, then they started looking for an alternate fuel which causes less harmful emissions than the petrol or the diesel. So at that time they came up with a solution that CNG is a solution. Okay, and CNG at the same time had a advantage was that it was much less costly than the than petrol and diesel. It was less costly than petrol and diesel. So at that time this was adopted as an alternate fuel, and like most of big cities like Delhi has made a norm that no diesel car or diesel vehicle can enter into the borders of New Delhi. Okay, so there you can only apply with either CNG vehicles you can have, or you if it is a if it is a commercial vehicle, then they will only allow the CNG vehicles to ply on the roads. Even the buses and everyone they would be all CNG would be plying. So, and at the same time, they are not allowing the diesel commercial vehicles. So, if you are if it is your personal vehicle, then you can have a petrol version. Otherwise, like for commercial vehicles, only they have made it mandatory that only CNG can ply on the roads. Okay, so CNG fitting was also like kind of re-engineering that we are talking about. So like re-engineering, if you want to see like the proper first version of the re-engineering, then this fitting of the CNG kits was kind of a re-engineering. So on the existing vehicles itself, they were fitting this CNG tank, and then the entire system CNG kit was fitted with it. So the entire vehicle was as it is. No more changes were being done in the vehicle, and you were given this fitted kit was fitted, which was put into the put into your vehicles at a convenient place. It was put. So, and it was in fact quite safe also, and it was not only saving cost on the fuel, but was also a kind of much lesser emitting fuel than the traditional petrol and the diesel. So this was termed as eco-friendly, and most of the cities have adopted it. And after which the manufacturer also realized that yes, CNG is very important. So in future, the last 3-4 years, many models have come which runs on dual fuel. So you can shift it either into to CNG, or you can move with your conventional fuel. Definitely, the prices of CNG has also shot like anything in last 1 to 2 years. They have also increased. So when what we were looking, what we were seeing as like a cheap fuel, now it is very much comparative to the petrol and the diesel. So in 1993, India's first 3 CNG stations were opened in Delhi for private and commercial vehicles. This policy decision enabled the successful conversion of more than 30 lakh vehicles to CNG. So Delhi made a policy that, as I said, that all the commercial vehicle has to be, which enters into Delhi have to be CNG based. Otherwise, they will not allow the diesel vehicles to enter into the city. So what people did was overnight they have to convert it into CNG. So like 30 lakh vehicles, you can imagine 30 lakh vehicles were converted to CNG, like within a very small span, they were converted into CNG. So all public transport, all trucks and everything that has to enter into Delhi has to be CNG as per the norm. A similar wave is fast reaching the shores of our nation. Again, at this time, it is re-engineering commercial vehicles into 100% electrical. So, as this revolution, you can call it, which happened for a normal vehicles conversion to CNG. Same thing is may occur for the electrical vehicles. So, since the demand is increasing, the OEMs are not able to produce the vehicles, and even the new vehicles comes with a like huge price tag they comes with. Okay, so at this, so this re-engineering can be an arrangement which can fit into fit between the supply and the demand. So they can this re-engineering will not only keep the cost down, but will also help in conversion of vehicles into electrical, and at the same time your vehicle which has lost its life, they can have a new life. So all these motives would be fulfilled through re-engineering. So types of re-engineering: hybrid electrical vehicle. A gasoline electric hybrid vehicle or hybrid electrical vehicle is a vehicle that relies not only on batteries, but as also on the internal combustion engine that drives the wheel. So instead of making it 100% electrical, it can be a hybrid electrical vehicle also. So as I said that in CNG, you have two modes, same would be in the car, where you can depending upon the requirement, you can shift your fuel base. Either you can use the power from the electricity to run it on electricity, or you can turn it into conventional fuel, petrol or diesel, while flying. So you have an option of using either of the fuel, either electricity or the petrol. So hybrid electric vehicles combine an electrical wheel hub motor. Hybrid electric vehicles combine an electrical wheel hub motor, battery and control system with an internal combustion engine to achieve better fuel economy and reduce toxic emission. So in hybrid, it won't be 100% electric. We can't say that it is reducing 100% emissions. It is reducing, but a portion of it. So if your drive is say 100 kilometers, so 15 to 20% can be covered with the electrical energy, and that during that duration you will save on the fuel, and also will save on the and will also reduce the emission of the toxic gases into the environment. So that 20% of your journey would be termed as a green journey, or where you have reduced the emissions. Hybrid electric vehicles combine electrical wheel hub motor, battery and control system with an internal combustion engine. So mostly hybrid electrical vehicles, what they are using hub motors they are using. So normally when you are driving it with your conventional fuel, they would be just functioning as normal tires, and when you drive these vehicles with the help of the battery, then they would be functioning as motors. Okay, so in this way you can achieve both you can drive your vehicle through both type of fuel sources. It provides its owners with advantage in fuel economy and environmental impact over conventional automobile. So definitely your fuel cost will come down, because a portion of it you can manage with electricity, and portion of it you will be running on the fuel. So both environmental impact you can bring it down of the conventional fuel, and at the same time, yes, you can also save on the costing part, because operation cost on by electricity is definitely in any time it is much lesser than the operation cost by conventional fuel. So specification. So this is a like typical TVS iQube model. So they have come with a hybrid scooter. Now it is available in the market or not, I don't know. But initially at one point of time, they have introduced this vehicle. Okay, so this model is TVS iQube, a hybrid scooter that operates on both gasoline and batteries. So they have the hub motor normally would function as a normal tire, And when you switch the mode to electricity, it will start functioning as a hub motor. So this was a model that was introduced by TVS iQ. Hybrid model was introduced. So availability in the market, I am not sure about it presently, but they had at one point of time they have introduced this vehicle. So maximum range was 75 kilometer, top speed 78 kilometer per hour, acceleration 0 to 40 kilometer per hour, 4.2 seconds. The charging time was approximately 6 hours. Fast charger was the option was not available, so it came with a slow charging, slow speed chargers only. So driving mode, eco mode, and power mode. So you can either switch your driving mode. So eco mode and power mode, both you could say these were two like gear modes where speed restriction would be there. If you talk about economy mode, you can drive your vehicle only, since it is giving a top speed of 78 kilometers. So in economy mode, you at the highest speed that you will get would be 40 kilometers or so. And when you switch it to power mode, you can like reach to a top speed of 78 kilometers per hour also. Battery information, 3 lithium-ion batteries, undetachable. So in TVS iQubes, also the new model that is coming, it also doesn't have a detachable battery. They are placed in on this footrest, distributed on this area, so that the entire this space is left as a boot space. It is left as a boot space, so you can put in even a helmet, you can put it into it. So this comes with an undetachable battery. So what there is a big uh, uh, there is a big disadvantage if you have an undetachable battery in your vehicle. First is swapping won't be possible. Second, what happens is like say in cities, if you are residing in third floor or fourth floor of a building, so you cannot you would be parking your vehicle somewhere in the parking lot or somewhere. There might not they might not have charging provision of charging, or you cannot plug into charging. People would say that no, this is a common electricity, you can't plug in your vehicle over here, or there could be several several things could be there. So if it is detachable, what easily you can do is you can remove it, take it to your house. There you can put it, and when it gets charged in the next morning or whenever it gets charged, you can put it in the vehicle back. Okay, so that gives so that is the convenience that detachable battery gives you. So since it is undetachable over here, so if you are, let's say, residing in second or third floor, then there might be an issue. Okay, to find the charging port, you have to have a dedicated connection, in the basement or wherever you are placing your vehicle for charging. So that would be like a kind of again hindrances or a disadvantage with the undetachable batteries. So 4.4 kilowatt battery is there, and peak, and 3 kilowatt continuous. The size of the battery is there. Battery warranty is for 3 years or 50,000 kilometers, whichever is earlier. And peak wheel torque is 140 Newton meter. It's a very acceleration is very fast. And water and dust resistance on floor, IP67. So this IP67, this is again a protocol given to the enclosures. So wherever you are IP67 rating, whichever enclosure is given an IP67 rating, that means it's a dust free, and it is waterproof and dust resistant. So say if you are placing your switch gears into it and you have a box, then if it is IP67, then no water or dust would be entering. So this IP67 rating that you are seeing, you will normally this is must have for battery and for motor. So if your battery and motor is rated IP67, we are kind of sure that yes, even if they get wet, the water won't seep into either motor or into the controller, in fact controller can also be IP67. So motor, controller, and battery, if IP67 rated, then we are sure that yes, even when we are running it into rain also and water seeps into, or they get wet also, they won't water won't enter into these components. So gradability 10 degrees, up to 10 degrees gradability they are claiming. Ground clearance 150 mm is the ground clearances. So the distance between the ground and the lowest part of the vehicle if we leave out the tires, so that is 150 weight is 118 kgs. So typically this is a bit higher than a normal conventional vehicle that you run. They comes into the they are their weight is between 90 to 95 to 110, so it is 118 kgs. Notable features: TFT dashboard, they have navigation assist and parking assist, geofencing, remote character charge status is there, incoming call alerts, mobile app support. So this is all features that you will get in your console panel, or in the in normal language, the meter that you have, where you could see the state of the charge, you could see the speed of the vehicle, the kilometers it has run. So that comes with an additional these all features. So it is a smart bike, you can term it as it's very smart. So full electrical vehicle. So this is like re-engineered full electrical vehicle. So hybrid electrical vehicle we saw, this is full electrical vehicle we are seeing on our right. A full electrical vehicle is a vehicle in which the electrical drivetrain replaces the internal combustion drive in an existing vehicle to create a BEV. So battery electrical vehicle, to convert it into electrical battery vehicle. So this was a conventional electrical bike, and it was refitted with components. Motor was refitted, controller was refitted, and battery was refitted to convert into electrical. So if this is will run now, engine has been removed, so there is no provision of shifting the mode. So it is normal electrical vehicle, so it would run fully on electricity only. So it will have a new identity. When you go to the registration office, the vehicle registration office, when you go there, they will register it as a fresh vehicle. They would give you a new registration certificate, they will give you, and they will give you a new registration number also, they will give you under green number plate. So this vehicle will have now a new identity. So advantages of electrical vehicle: easy to use, greenhouse gas emission saving, electrical vehicles are electrically eco-friendly and no air pollution, low operating costs. So all these we have already studied in our earlier sessions also. So this would give you an advantage. So if you can re-engineer your existing bike, it gives you an advantage. If you convert it to fully electrical version, then it will give you a lot of advantages. Now there could be query from your side, why this re-engineering is not becoming very popular. First of all, the OEM of the ICE engine vehicle is not very convenient, or is not very eager to that his bike is being converted into electrical version, and he is not getting any benefit out of it. Okay, so he has sold a bike till the time it is running on the roads, the bike is getting serviced at various points. He is supplying the parts he is supplying. Okay, so so in that way, in one or the other way, he is being benefited continuously throughout the life of the bike. But now what has happened, it has been converted into electrical version. Now he will have no role to play, and he feels that how can it be used for other purposes, and he is not benefited out of it. Okay, so due to that, the OEMs, the ICE vehicle OEMs are not very eager for this re-engineering of their vehicle. Okay, and at the same time, they feel that if it has lost his life, people should be going for new ICE vehicles, so that his business keeps on going on. Okay, so there are we know that in ICE like OEMs, if we count, like in two-wheelers, if we count, there are very limited, and all are very big. Okay, so mostly we would be going for model from these six, seven OEMs that are present there. If you need a new vehicle, we will be going to them only. So in a sense, they are thinking that they are not receiving any benefit after this vehicle life is over. So they are not very eager. In fact, they are like in one or the other way, they are not very motivated, or not encouraging this thing. This re-engineering, they are not encouraging, because they think that they are not getting any benefit out of it, and even they are losing the proprietary rights that they have over the vehicles. Because at any point of time during when you see the vehicle, you would not say that it is Ram's vehicle or it is Sham's vehicle. What you would say is it is like Hero Honda Splendor, or it is Hero Shine, it is Honda Shine, or you would be terming them by the OEM's name and the model's name. You would be identifying them. So they feel that their proprietary rights or their vehicle, the proprietary rights are being omitted out of their vehicles, and at the same time they are not getting any benefit out of it. And if re-engineered, people will not coming back to them to buy a new vehicle or new ICE vehicle. So in that sense, they are not very upbeat about this. This is a fully electrical vehicle. You can see like on your right hand side, this is model Spock from so this is model Spock. Normally this has been designed keeping in view that it would be utilized by the delivery associates. It would be utilized. So you could see that they have given a pizza box. If you are into food delivery, you can like put your food items into it so that you can safely and like warm food can be delivered to the doorstep of the consumer. Okay, and at the same time, if you are into e-commerce, then you have the facility that it would be you could remove this box and you can utilize it for you can utilize it for keeping your bags or other stuff in your vehicle. Excuse me. So this is normally this vehicle will comes into the category of a commercial electrical bike. It comes into the category of commercial electrical bike through which you can make your deliveries. You can a delivery associate can make delivery. So they have given a lot of provision. So this model this model was developed when they saw that most of the delivery guys who are making delivery on conventional bikes, they have to like struggle a lot by hanging one bag on the right shoulder, one on the left shoulder. Some bags are lying at the back. So instead of doing that, they have conveniently given spaces where you can put your load and it gets equally distributed. So your vehicle doesn't get imbalance, and you have like you can conveniently sit on the vehicle and you can drive and you can make all the deliveries conveniently. Because at the end of the day, a delivery associates travels 50% more than what a normal person commute. Like a normal person mostly you commute from to go from office to home and back to from home to office and office to home. So from them, if you compare, he would be commuting more than 100 130 kilometers per hour. So if his convenience or is not taken care of, then he might like after some time he might develop some pain in his back or other ailments he could develop. So this bike was normally it was like designed in such a way that there is convenience in driving by the delivery associates, and he doesn't have to take pain of like hanging the bags on his shoulders. In fact, he can conveniently put them on different parts and can make the deliveries easily. So if you talk about the specification, this is a 45, the maximum speed is 45 kilometer per hour. Battery 72 volt and 48. So it's a larger battery, 2.93 kilowatt hour, and it gives you kind of like range of around 100 kilometers. It gives you a range. Charger is again AC 220 volt input and 4 ampere 50 Ah. So anti-theft lock and GPS is inbuilt into this. Tire size is 90/90/12. So 12 inches tire has been used. Front suspension, if you talk about it, is telescopic hydro fork. Telescopic, you could see it's a fork structure and it is telescopic. Okay, and wheel rim, if you talk about, they are aluminum, black, blue, red, and green. Aluminum alloy wheels are there, and it's available in different colors of black, blue, green, and gray and red. Transmission is automatic. A transmission is automatic because it is using hub motor, so no medium is used. It directly transmit. And convertible passenger good carrier, so it can it can be either converted into a passenger when you can replace this slotted seat with a continuous seat, and it could be converted into a passenger version. Otherwise you can use it as a good carrier also. Okay. And driving modes equals power and reverse. So it has three modes. So economy and power is for riding like front side. In if you want to reverse it, there is a provision to drive it in reverse direction also. Normally reverse direction has been given into this vehicle because it is understood that it would be loaded with a lot of stuff. So doing it manually, it would be different. So the reverse gear has been provided so that you can move it with ease. And on road price, if you talk about for this vehicle, it would be coming to around 1,05,000. It would be coming. So re-engineering components, if you talk about, so if you talk about basic components, if you talk about, then battery, controller, and motor, these are must, and accordingly you can add on to make it much better. If you want to make it, you can add more and more components. So here we have shown that what all vehicles we can plan to re-engineer into. So two-wheelers you can have, then three-wheelers or normal auto rickshaw that you can convert into electrical version, or the normal loading rickshaws that you can convert it into electrical version. Then cars you can do it, for buses you can do it, even for the bigger transport vehicles, that also can be done. So battery pack you will need 48 volt to 450 volt. Why we are saying? So that it is applicable starting from two wheelers to the bigger vehicles, the bigger commercial vehicles, they could be converted. Leons and the UCAPs or lead acid. So you can have any type of battery. Could be lithium ion, it could be, or lead acid also you can use. Gearboxes, single and two speed. So gearboxes, you could have to modify your gearboxes according to the requirement. You have to according to the motor, you have to make some alterations into the gearboxes. And drive controller, AC DC and DC DC converters you have to fix, because in all vehicles that are available, normally we have a secondary battery through which the auxiliary is powered. So here you will have to have a AC DC DC or AC DC converter, so that you can supply power to the auxiliary. BMS with active balancing, 48 volt and 12 volt SOC monitor, assist region switching. So this would be this would be a feature either in the inbuilt in the controller, or will be a part of the battery. Okay, so regenerating switching, it would be part of a controller. And SOC monitor, definitely your normal console panel of the vehicle, or the normal dashboard that you call it, would be completely changed, because that has to sense battery, find out the state of charge of the battery, and then that has to show the display. So instead of showing how much the fuel portion that it shows, like how much the tank is holding the fuel, instead of it would be replaced with the state of charge of the battery. So it has to show the state of the charge of the battery. So robust wire harness. So wire harness has to be completely changed, because if you talk about the existing vehicles, the normal wiring harness, the wiring is for only for the lighting purpose and other other ignition, all those purposes the wiring is there. But now you have to have a robust harness, because the power that would be traveling from the battery to the motor, connection between the motor and the battery and the controller, they have to be robust and with well protected core. So if you're talking about higher voltage version, when you go into say four-wheelers and commercial vehicles, there you have to have a very sophisticated wiring, along with the safety features and the insulation well taken care of. Integrated motor or generator, high RPM torque, regeneration during braking, and wide band of continuous power. So the motor that you would be utilizing, depending upon the vehicles, the motors would vary. So it could be like hub or the mid drive for two-wheelers and three-wheelers. Then four-wheelers, it could be an AC induction motor also. Okay, real-time monitoring. So you could have system inbuilt in your vehicle, where you could have a driver and fleet aid, USB, SD card, and OBD, GPS, GPRS, mobile application. That version you can give, so that you can not only track your vehicles, but at the same time it assists you while driving. Or only it gives you an assistance of reaching from one place to another. Even now there are applications that are coming which will give you an indication where you can find the nearest charging station. You can find it. All those would be can be inbuilt, and you can like inbuilt those kind of features also in your vehicles when you are re-engineering them. So typically speaking, if you want to convert your like vehicle, say if you want to convert any sort of your vehicle to an electrical version. So as we said that the most important component that you would be requiring is a battery, a controller, and a motor. These are the primary components that you would be requiring. Apart from them, you would also be requiring some like additional components also be requiring, because if you talk about a normal conventional vehicle, even you are trying to put a hub motor into it or the mid-drive motor you want to put it, so you have to make some alterations also in that. So what happens is generally for we call them conversion kits, we call them. Okay, so if you want to convert your normal bike into an electrical version, then you will be provided with conversion kits. So a company will say that say if there is say if I talk about a very famous model like Splendor, if I talk about, so and I want to convert into electrical, so some manufacturer would be making a kit for conversion of Splendor into an electrical version. Okay, so he would be providing you everything from motor, controller, battery. Battery would be an optional, you want to purchase it from him or you can purchase from other, because it is a costly item. Otherwise he would be giving you a set of like every item he would be giving it to, through which you can convert your bikes. Like within hours you remove your engine, you would remove it your engine, and then you can convert it into, like conveniently you can convert it into 2-3 hours, you can convert it into your electrical version. So at the same time, like what happens is, like when you are purchasing your electrical kit and you converted your bike into electrical, so till it is, if its speed is not going beyond 25 km per hour, then you can, yes, you can ride, you can move out and you can drive on the roads. It's not an issue, because that then till then it would be compared with that your vehicle will be compared with a cycle only, and most of the RTO rules will not apply on you. Okay, you don't need to have a registration plate, you don't need to wear helmet while traveling, and all those norms will not apply on you. But if you're converting your vehicle and its speed uh, uh, passes beyond 25 km per hour, then your vehicle would be termed as a high speed. So when you are on the road, then you need to have proper documentation you need to have for this vehicle. Okay, so now what RTOs or local RTOs are doing, are they are certifying some kits. Say if my company is manufacturing a kit for conversion of some bikes, say Activa I am converging, and I have a kit to convert normal Activa into electrical version. So I can and I am manufacturer of a kit. So my kit would include battery, it would include controller, DC-DC converter, it would include and the motor, it would include, and other fixtures and annexures it would include. So what I have to do is, I have to take this kit, I have to get as we homologate a normal electrical bike, or we get a certificate from ICAT or ARI. I have to take this kit to ICAT or ARAI, who will prove that yes, if fitted into this vehicle, the vehicle will perform like a normal electrical vehicle, and it would be safe. It would be as per the central motor vehicle regulations, it would be there. So I have to get this kit vetted through ICAT and ARAI. Now, at the same time, what the local RTOs, what they would do is, they will also have an assessment of this kit to term it fit, and they will also register it in their portal. Okay, so when I am going to them with a bike which has kit from only from authorized and registered vendors only, then only they will be issuing you a new registration certificate. Otherwise, they will term your vehicle not fit to drive on the vehicle. They can scrap you anytime. Okay, they will consider it as not fit vehicle for plying on the roads. So you need to, when you are converting it, and if it is a high, if it is giving you a speed more than 25 km with a motor of 300 watt and above, then what you have to do is, you have to get it like first you need to have your kit approved kit, and at the same time this kit should be registered in the RTO, in the RTO that you are going for registration. It should be they should have this kit registered with them. So only then only what they will do is they will issue a new fitness certificate to you, a new RC they will give you, and new registration number they will give. So that has to be taken care of if you want, if when you are converting into your vehicle. So legality I have I was trying to explain you what are the how legally you can convert your vehicle, and you can drive on the vehicles without any issue with proper registration and proper papers. So what has happened is some RTOs now they have started recognizing and giving certification to some kits. So if you come with this kit, and they are also mentioning the vehicles for which these kits are meant for. So if you go convert your certain vehicle with a certain kit, then you won't have any issue. They will give you a new registration certificate. So if that is done properly, then definitely yes, you can this vehicle will be termed as a new electrical vehicle, and they will be giving you all new documents and certifications they will be giving it to you. So what re-engineering kit will contain? A brushless DC motor. I said it could be a BLDC motor, and it could be it can be a mid-drive motor also. It can be a coaxial motor also. It can be if we are doing it for bike. And a controller unit, it will contain a controller unit. A sprocket it will contain. Sprocket is normally meant to to match the existing and the motor sprocket. So you can fit the remove the earlier, and you can replace it with the new one, so that it matches with the motor that you are placing in your vehicle. So handle accelerator would be there. Definitely your existing accelerator will not work, and you have to remove replace it with the throttle, electronic throttle you have to replace it with. Wire harness would be there. Dedicated wiring harness would be there, which will be making all the connections with the controller, with the motor, with the wiring, and with the battery. And the wiring harness would be there. Key switch and headlights would be there. So existing headlights and is also you can use it on, and all those structures you can use it, but that will be you will have a provision of a new headlights and switch. New headlight would be there, because headlight consumes normally headlight consumes the maximum power. So you would be either in traditional vehicle, if it is a normal filament bulb has been used, that would be you will be getting a new LED based headlight you would be getting, so that you can save on the energy consumption. You can save, and more power can be utilized for driving the vehicles. It could be done. Okay, so that would be given to inverter, would be given to you to supply power to the auxiliary of the vehicle. So brushless DC motor, if you talk about a brushless DC electrical motor, also known as electronically commutator motor or synchronous DC motor, is synchronous motor using a direct current electrical power supply. So either the motor that would be provided to you for your for the conversion, it would be either a BLDC motor, or it will be a permanent magnet synchronous motor, depending upon the use. The kit will contain the motor. So if it is a brushless motor, it has a long lifespan, low maintenance, high efficiency. Specification would be 750 watt, 48 volts, or 750 watt, 72 volts. So this is we are trying to tell you what our kit contains. So this would be the components that our kit would be containing. So when we go into the motor, definitely we'll be learning more technicals of the motor. But when we provide a kit for conversion, eOxigen kit would be what it would be containing. It would be containing the wiring harness, entire wiring harness, the headlight it would be containing, the motor it would be containing. It could be a hub motor or a coaxial motor, depending upon the vehicle. And then you have harness. You have an option of having battery from us, or you can directly purchase it. Both option is there with you. And DC converter will be there with you. And you would have a throttle, electronic throttle would be there, and a complete wiring harness would be included in the kit. So controller unit, as we said, that depending upon the kind of the vehicle, you will be provided with a controller. So the rating and everything would be dependent upon the kind of the vehicle that you would be in which you would be using. So the electrical vehicle controller is the electronic package that operates between the batteries and the motors and the controller vehicle speed and acceleration, much like a carburetor does in a gasoline powered vehicle. So we have discussed controller in much detail. So depending upon the, say, what kind of vehicle you are converting, you will be provided with a controller. So if it is if your motorcycle, you want a like more robust bike with a with speed limit, a much higher speed limit, and the power rating of the motor is high, then you would be requiring a much robust controller. Or if it is you want to develop a slow speed bike, then the controller will be according motor control and everything would be like synced, and then you would be provided, so that you don't have any problem when you are assembling the bike. So what you are doing, only you are going to a mechanic, removing your engine and other accessories you are removing, and then you are fitting in the new kit elements, then you start fitting into it. So you will also be given a complete roadmap, or you could say a line diagram you would be given with proper instructions, so that you can do it by yourself also, like without any aid you can also do it yourself. So this would be again 2 hours 3 hours affair, where you can convert your entire normal bike into an electrical version. So sprocket, we said that these are the chain sprockets that are being provided to you, because to match with the motor, they are being provided. The sprocket wheel or chain wheel is a profiled wheel with teeth that match with the chain track or other perforated or indented material. Okay, so sprockets are used in bicycle, motorcycles, track vehicles, and other vehicles, either to transmit rotary motion between two shafts where gears are unsuitable, or to impart linear motion to a track tape, etc. So they are normally for the like linear motion. And what they are accordingly, they would be designed so that the gear ratio is properly matched with the motor. So you will be fitted with fitting it along with the motor, you will fitting it. And say if you are using a coaxial or a mid-drive motor, then you would be placing so the chain or the belt that is connecting with the rear wheel, they can be properly, like the transmission is proper, and as per the ratio that is. So sprocket would be provided in that teeth ratio only, with that teeth ratio only. So handles, accelerator, we have spoken about. These are in normal language we call them the throttle, electronic throttle we call them. So they are the first point through which you give a like a manual signal you give to the controller to for the operation of the motor. So say if you are traveling at a certain speed, and if you want to increase your speed, then through the throttle you will be twisting the throttle, through which a signal would be going into the controller, where it would be converted into a digital signal that will go to the pulse width modulation circuit. A pulse width would be generated that would trigger the throttle to and accordingly voltage would be like output voltage would be developed across the would be developed by the set of MOSFETs that are there in the controller, and then according to the output voltage, the motor speed would vary. So throttle typically is the first element you could say, or the component you can say, through which you would be giving an analog signal to the vehicle to accordingly instruct the vehicle either to increase the speed or reduce the speed. So wiring harness, if you typically talk about wiring harness, is a bunch of cables. So wiring harness should be such that you are providing the required number of ports that would be required. So there would be sockets, so that you can directly plug into the components, into the pins. You can directly plug into the component. Then you would see that you have to place these pins accordingly, so that wherever you are keeping the charging port, or the different indicators for headlights and everything, it should be neatly done, properly done, with proper male or female pins it should be provided with, so that you can easily plug in. So it's a matter of plug in, and the wire gauge should be accordingly kept, so that there are no short circuit or heating of the wiring harness. So accordingly wires are selected, so that the harness will also include in it the cable for connection between the battery and the controller, and from the controller to the motor. So all the wirings would be they would be there in the harness, and with different color code it would be there, so that you can easily identify. And these pins would be properly located in such a way that they would be either they are not very long so that they are hanging while when you are placing the harness in the vehicle, or neither very short so that you have to stress upon the connection. So it should be like, first you need to have a roadmap, or you need to have a you need to have a proper circuit diagram, you need to have a proper line diagram, you need to have how many wires you need for designing a wiring harness, and what would be the length of each wire. That should be properly done after taking the measurement into the vehicle. After you have taken all the measurements into the vehicle, that should be properly done, then you should be going into the design of the wiring. This is normally for even if you are designing it for a normal conventional vehicles or any sort of vehicles, because every vehicle has wiring harness. So they could be like in normal vehicle, if you talk about, they could be wiring harness with less number of wires, and in electrical vehicles the wiring harness would be having more number of wires. So depending upon that, first of all you need to have a proper line diagram drawn, then accordingly take the measurements and in the vehicle itself, and which item is placed where, accordingly you have to design it so that it is very neatly done, so that you don't have to again either make connections and again have to stretch cables and all those things. So should be properly planned in initial steps. So like this was like what we today discussed about the re-engineering of a normal conventional vehicle into an electrical version. So these were to give you an give you an idea how it can be converted. Why is the re-engineering required? Why do we need to re-engineering our existing conventional vehicles into electrical vehicles? And how can we do it easily through with the help of the available kits, and what a kit would be having in it, so that we can easily convert a normal vehicle into an electrical vehicle. So now anyone who has any query, he can put raise his hand, or he can put the query in chat box. Even if you have any query from the last two sessions, from the controller and from the last session of chargers and charging infrastructure, that also you can put queries on.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, Uday, good evening. You are always the first one to ask question. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. So you have said about few companies are using undetachable batteries.
Yeah.
So if any one of them is failed, say if there are three batteries attached together, so if any one of them is failed, so should we replace the complete set?
No, it won't be. You won't be requiring to replace the complete set. Only that part can be replaced. So they are connected into the series. Okay, so the change is always they would be connected in such a way that the voltage range of each type matches with the vehicle. So anyone fail, the vehicle will run, it will give a lower range, and then it could be replaced. Only that part can be replaced.
Yeah, okay, sir. And one more doubt. So if we re-engineer, says I have re-engineered a Shine bike.
Yeah.
So will there be any patent issues from the company?
So
because the design and shape is their design, right? So
right.
There may be any patent issues.
So what happens is, normally what happens is the manufacturer has rights over the vehicle only for 15 years or 20 years, for which the RTO terms the life of a vehicle. Okay. So, so what they would do is, they won't you cannot claim after that, after the life of the vehicle is over. Okay. So if you are converting a vehicle, you need to have that it is older than 15 years, so that its life is over, then you can make conversion. But it is always advisable that you make alterations, so that you don't keep the last version, you don't keep it. Otherwise they can't if government has given you a permission that after the life is over, you can convert your vehicle into an electrical version, you can do it, because they have the right on that vehicle only for that time period only.
Yeah. Okay. So below within 15 years, if anyone does that, then the company has right to issue a patent issues.
They can make a claim over that, okay, or they can ask for they can say that you first have an NOC from my side and then only you go for conversion. So this still guidelines are not clear. They are very much into like nascent stage only. So what government has done, they have started with few kit manufacturers. They have given permission to, okay. So RTO has said that there are 5-6 kit manufacturers to whom they have given conversion kit, but they have said only after the life of the vehicle is over. Okay, so government is also in between. If you are converting, then you are doing it at your risk. But after the life is over, convert it. You can take it to the RTO, can get all the certification done, like all the certificates will be redone, and then you can like definitely you can move the vehicle around on the roads. That won't be an issue.
Thank you, sir. And one more doubt, like if you re-engineered any car with the by connecting the motor shaft to the axle. So is the chain is the best way or the belting is the best way?
So always like if you want low maintenance, then like belt is a proper way to do it. And if you like feel that that there would be slack and all those issues, then you can have a chain. So both models can be done, but definitely if you do it like in four-wheelers in the high high load vehicles, it is always advisable that you use mostly you use chains.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Otherwise you need to have like mostly what is done in three-wheelers and four-wheelers conversion, they fit the there is directly coupling the motor into the gearbox of the motor or into the gearbox. So in differential you put the motors directly, you couple it with gearbox, okay. That is the direct transmission only they use. Normally chain and belt they don't use when you are doing it for high load vehicles and high weight vehicles.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, Lakhan, good evening.
Sir, what will be the cost of the retrofitted vehicle, sir?
So cost of the equipment mostly depends upon the type of the battery that we would be using. So if you leave out battery for two-wheelers, it would be coming to you in the range of like 20 to 25,000 for a bike or for a normal scooty type of a vehicle. If you talk about it, would be coming in the range of 20 to 25. Battery is not included into this.
Yes, sir. Sir, there is another doubt, sir. Sir, in controllers we are using open loop and.
Can you speak like bit louder? Actually, I'm able to hear you.
Sir, can you hear, sir?
Yes.
Sir, we use open loop and closed loop, no, sir, in the controllers.
Yeah.
Two controllers.
Yeah.
So in open loop controllers, actually there is no effect on motor, no, sir. So we will use
there will not be an effect on motor. See, closed loop, if you talk about then regenerative braking is there, then you can call it as a closed loop controller. And if there is no regenerative, then you can call it as an open loop controller, you can call it. So there won't be any like from output, you won't be getting any input feedback, you won't be getting it. Okay. So the input will be free of any output, like how your what output you are getting at the motor end, it won't be affecting on the input to the controller.
Okay, sir.
So say some features you have to take care of. Say if your motor if it is say if at a particular current level, if your motor is the RPM is low or it is much high, then there must be some issue because of it. This condition is happening. Okay, so but if your controller is not having a feedback of these conditions, then like it can't do anything. But if you have some feedback, then it can give you an indication that there is an issue with the like motor, either it is overheated or either it is your vehicle is you are overloading your vehicle. So those kind of feedback you can get if you have a closed loop controller.
So, sir, where we will use this open loop controller, sir?
Yes.
In which motors we will use this open loop controller?
Generally, open loop, closed loop, both are like available. So if regenerative braking controller you are getting, then that is closed loop controller that is getting that you are getting. So normally an open loop controller only.
Okay.
If you talk about closed loop controller, the costing of the controller will increase. So if you are going for a cheap controller, then it is an open loop controller.
So actually, we won't get feedback from the controller, no, sir, to the motor or any other devices. Sir.
You can.
So actually,
your voice is like very low, Lakhan. If you can speak a bit louder, then it will be much clearer. Okay.
sir, actually, we won't get any feedback from the controller, no, sir, to the devices, any devices or motor or any throttle. So actually, what is the use of open loop controller, sir?
No, open loop controller in a sense, it is all the input it is receiving, okay, and it is giving what
Yes.
is the role of the controller. It is receiving all the inputs from different components of the vehicle, okay, and then it is giving the output to the motor to perform accordingly, okay. And at some time it can take decisions as like temperature sensor would be there, all those decisions it could take, okay, controller it could. In closed loop, if you talk about, then there could be an additional things like when you are like applying brakes, now regenerative braking has to be done, so that feedback will be coming from the output only, okay. Or there are some road conditions, say there is an inclined road condition, okay. So say there is gradient, 15 or 20-degree gradient is there. So when your vehicle is moving in that gradient, your current consumption will start on increasing, okay. So if it is an open loop controller, it will sense only the amount of the current that is flowing into the through the controller. So if it is a 50 ampere controller, and the current increases, say, to 52 or 53, the controller will sense it as like any issue with the vehicle, and then it will shut it down, okay. It will not allow the further driving of the vehicle. But if it is a closed loop controller, it can it can sense like if there is a gradient, it can sense the gradient, and for some time period, say continuously, it will also not give, but for some time it will give the additional current, it will allow the additional current to flow.
Thank you, sir.
Could I clarify your doubt, Lakhan, or still I couldn't do that? Hello.
Clarified, sir. Hello, clarified, sir.
Clarified.
Yes, yes, sir.
So you can take an example of some machine also, like that is not just vehicle. You can take an example of some machine also. Okay, so that if it is like say if it is manufacturing, if it is a machine for some process driven there, so or a generator, if you talk about normal, you can talk it. So so what kind of like how is RPM are coming down? So if it is RPM are coming down to a certain extent, then there would be an input signal going into the alternator that there is the load has increased. You either cut down load, or you detach the alternator. So though if feedback is coming from the output and that is affecting your input, then it is a closed loop. Otherwise it is an open loop. So normally in open loop, what will happen, even if the RPM is coming down, so you have to manually do it something information. So the control system will not do anything. You have to manually go and do some setting. You have to do it manually. You have to do it. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So students, you can put your query, like either you can raise your hand, or you can like text it in the chat box, because only there are like very limited number of students who are asking queries. So why there is an issue? Either you are either you are understanding everything, or you are not listening at all. Only two reasons can be there. So as I said, from all the last three topics, whether it is controller, whether chargers and the charging infrastructure that we covered yesterday, or today's re-engineering topic. From all these three topics, you can ask any query. So Arvind, no query today? Avinash, Arvind?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Got clarity about retrofittings.
Okay. Nothing from the earlier sessions also?
No, sir. No. Sir, but one doubt is there from out of the topic.
Yes, please.
Do you know Konisek company?
Do you know?
Konisek company.
Actually, I'm not able to hear you properly.
Quark Motors.
Okay. Hop Motors.
Quark. Quark. Quark
Yeah,
Motors.
Quark Motors. Okay.
Yeah. Can you explain about it?
Quark Motors.
Yeah, sir. Recently it is made.
They are
in Jan.
manufacturer or like a motor?
Konisek is a company where it sells super bikes in Sweden.
Okay.
So sorry, supercars in Sweden, and
Okay.
it made a electric motor. I
Okay.
named it as a Quark motor,
Okay. Okay.
and they are naming it that this is the next generation motor.
Okay. Okay. So
So
this is like magnetless motor, right?
yeah, actually they made the motor in reaxial. It rotates in radial and axial.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. If any information you can share about
So
reaxial
this,
motors.
definitely we will be doing. I'll like note it down, and definitely we will be doing it in like the motor section that we will be covering in the upcoming.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So there are two queries that we have received in the chat box. So Shiva Teja say, will you explain again what is AC current and DC current, sir? So Shiva Teja, like talking about AC current and DC current. DC current is something that if we like expand the abbreviation, it is a direct current. So there is no frequency. So it will it will maintain up. It will not happen in the cycles. Okay. So, and if you talk about AC current, it normally occurs in a cycle, a sinusoidal wave it occurs. Okay. So there is a positive cycle and then there is a negative cycle. So this is normally what an AC or a DC circuit, DC current is.
Okay, sir.
So in both cases, it is like flow of free electrons. But in AC and DC, the difference is that DC current occurs at a normal. It has a normal like a straight line. If you talk about operation, it would have a straight line operation. It doesn't have any frequency. It will keep on going for a not in any cyclic mode or in any sinusoidal mode, but it will be in a straight line mode. And if you talk about AC current, that occurs in a like waveform. It has a waveform, normal a sinusoidal waveform it could have. Okay, so positive cycle would be there, a negative cycle would be there.
So we are using AC current for our charging of electric bikes, sir.
Okay, so for charging of the electrical vehicles, normally if it is like 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, and smaller 4-wheelers where the battery sizing is small, we use normally the AC input we use. Okay, and if the size of the battery is huge, like for in case of buses, there we use DC power for charging.
Okay, sir. Fine, sir.
So normally the chargers, what they do is they convert the AC supply, input AC supply into the DC, and then they start charging the battery, or they start forcing power into the battery. Okay, so the charger will convert the normal input AC into DC, and then the charging will happen. But yesterday when we spoke about the charging stations, when we spoke about, so there what it could be that EVS all components that we are maintaining at the charging station, they could be either AC or they could be DC. So if the battery size is small for four-wheelers and other vehicles, then we can use an like AC input, we can use it. And if the vehicle is battery size is large and we want to do it faster, then we will be using the DC charge in.
Okay, sir. Sir, what type of cooling system we use in electric vehicles, sir?
So in electrical vehicles, two-wheelers, three-wheeler batteries, we normally don't use any cooling system because there is no much provision. But if you talk about four-wheelers and other vehicles, we use proper cooling system. Coolant is there which would be flowing in the tubes around the battery so that it maintains the temperature of the batteries. There is a separate you have a separate pump is there which keeps on which so that the coolant can flow across the battery and dissipate the heat that is generating across the battery.
Okay, sir. That's it. Thanks.
So this coolant can be this normal coolant is used to dissipate the heat.
Okay, sir.
So Harish has asked a question in conversion kit. Is there option like any kind of battery can be connected? So Harish, like any kind of a battery in a sense, like you can connect both like lithium ion you can connect, or you can connect a lead acid battery. Only thing you have to take care of is like your controller and your motor, at what voltage they are, what is their voltage rating. Accordingly, you will have to connect the battery.
So both are optional, like controller is different for a motor and the controller is different for a normal DC motor.
So, yeah, so Harish, what happens is motor and controller comes like from a single manufacturer. So they sync the controller for a motor and then they give you in a set. So you will get motor controller set, you will get, okay, always you will get the motor controller. So say if my motor is at for a vehicle of 48 volt, okay. So in control there will be a setting that lower voltage cutoff will be defined. So if you use a battery of that nominal voltage only, then only it will function. Otherwise, that won't be you won't be able to connect a battery of other voltage other voltage rating. You will not be able to use there.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay.
Guys, Dinesh gave us such a good presentation that day. So no queries, Dinesh. So Lakhan has asked, Arvind has asked, Uday Raja has asked, Arun Kumar has not asked any query. Avinash said no query. Then Bontha Ramesh, Harish Kumar, Jio Swarup, Shruti, Komaraju Hema Sai, Dinesh Reddy, Mohan Pawan Verma, Pranav Sai, Sai Siddhartha, Sampat Kumar, Shiv Nayak, Shivateja, Swankar Reddy, Vamshi Akhil, Venkatesh. No queries from you guys. So Arvind, you want to ask anything?
Yes, sir.
So Renuka, again, like a small request, if anyone has any query, otherwise we'll have to wind it up
Yes, sir.
the 5 minutes. We'll have
So,
to.
yeah, so guys, anyone is having a queries, please raise your hand or like if you can post in the chat box. Nathan, you having any query? Can you unmute your mic?
Sir,
Yeah, Lakan.
sir, for retrofitting, what kind of certification we require?
Your
sir?
voice is very low, Lakan. Speak.
Sir, there is an issue with mic, sir.
Yeah,
Hello.
please. Yeah, now you can speak.
What kind of certification we need, sir, required to retrofit the vehicle?
Yeah, for retrofitting of the vehicle, as I said, first of all, the kit that you are using, that should be an authorized kit, okay? Approved kit from ARAI or ICAT, it should be approved from, okay? Secondly, like when you're fitting it to the vehicle, you have to know that either it is for like high speed vehicle or it is for a slow speed vehicle. So if it is a slow speed vehicle, then you don't have to get your vehicle registered. But if it is a high speed vehicle, say if it the speed goes beyond 25 kilometer per hour or your motor size is 250 watt and above, then what you have to do is you have to get it registered. You have to take it to the RTO. So RTO normally till now what has happened is retrofitting. Most of the RTOs are not allowing, they are not giving any new license to the RTO. But now, slowly some cities have started with, so their RTOs have a list of approved kits. Okay. So if you're using any of that approved kit and you take it to the RTO, they will, and you have a certificate that kit is certified, then they will give you a new registration certificate. Okay. And a new registration number also they will give you. Hello.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So still this re-engineering still guidelines are being prepared for re-engineering. Most of the states or most of the RTOs are not aware or they are not allowing re-engineering. Legally, they are not allowing re-engineering. But with the introduction of the this scrappage policy, maybe like in coming years, it would become like a big a parallel industry. It will become. So still till then like everyone is in confusion like how to get a re-engineered bike registered, and all those confusion are still there with the registration authorities also and with the normal users also. So any more query guys, or we call it a day? I think Renuka, there are like most of the students who want to ask, they have asked it. So should we like call it a day? And
Yes, sir. So, yes, so we'll just closing today, sir.
yeah. So what I would do is like I was recording this. So should I end the meeting, or like it would be ended from your side?
Sir, me only, sir, because I'm the host, sir. Okay, so I'm just if I'm just going to closing this session, it's going to close. Hello?
Yeah. So
yes, sir. And thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you for participation for everyone this session.
Yeah, so thank you everyone. Thank you everyone. I will just encourage you to ask more queries so that we can answer, and we will also think that you are you are paying attention. So maybe next session, in the 12th session on Friday, we will see more participation from your side. Thank you everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for everyone. Okay.
Thank you.